Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth lecture of the placement series. In today's lecture, we'll study about conditional statements. So first we'll start with control flow. So let's understand what control flow means. So what is the meaning of control flow? By default, a Java compiler always executes the code from top to bottom. All the statements are executed according to the order in which they appear in a program. So there are some statements in Java which are used to control the flow of the Java code. So such statements are called as control flow statements. So the statements which are used to control the flow of a program, those statements are called as control flow statements. In Java, we have three types of control flow statements. They are decision-making statements, also known as conditional statements. Then we have loop statements, and in the end we have jump statements. So in today's lecture, we'll focus on decision-making or conditional statements. So now we'll look at conditional statements. Conditional statements are those statements which decide which statement is to be executed and when it is to be executed. So what they do is they evaluate a Boolean expression and control the program flow depending upon the result of that condition. In Java, we have two types of conditional statements. One is if statement and the next is switch statement. So we'll look at each of them one by one. So first we'll see if statement. So in Java, this if statement is used to evaluate a condition. So we are given a condition along with the if statement which evaluates to a Boolean value. So either the value can be true or the value can be false. So different statements are executed based on the output of this if condition. So in Java, we have four types of if statement. The first one is simple if statement. Next we have if else statement. Next we have if else if ladder. And then last we have nested if. So first we'll look at simple if statement. The simple if statement is the most basic statement among all the control flow statements which are allowed in Java. So how does it execute? It just evaluates one Boolean expression. So whenever the expression given in the if statement is true, it enters the if block. Otherwise, the whole if block is skipped. Now let us see the syntax of if statement. First we have the keyword if. Then in the parenthesis we have a Boolean expression. After that, the curly brackets indicate the start and end of the if block. Now, if the expression given inside this condition is true, then we execute the full if block. Otherwise, all these statements are skipped. Let us have a look at the flow chart of the if condition. So, first the condition is evaluated. If the condition is true, we enter the if block and execute all the statements which are given inside the if block. Otherwise, we just come out of the if block. So, let us see an example of simple if statement. So here I have an integer variable a whose value is 10. So next I have an if condition if a less than 20. So the condition here is a less than 20. So the value of a is 10. So if I say 10 less than 20, the value of this Boolean expression is true. So I enter the if block. So inside the if block I will print inside first if. So the output of first if will be inside first if. Now I come out of this if block. Again there is another if statement. So the condition associated with that is a mod 2 equals to 1. A mod 2 represents the remainder when I divide a number by 2. So when I divide a number by 2, there can be two possible remainders. Either it can be 0 or it can be 1. So if the number is divisible by 2, the remainder will be 0. If it is not divisible by 2, the remainder will be 1. So for all the even numbers, the remainder will be 0. And for all the odd numbers, the remainder will be 1. Here I have a as 10. So 10 is even number. 10 is divisible by 2. So when I divide 10 by 2, I will get the remainder as 0. So when I do 10 mod 2 equal to 1, the condition will be false. I will not enter inside the if block. So the statement inside second if will not be executed. And the output of this code will only be this thing. Clear? Next we will see if else statements. If-else statement is an extension of the if statement. In if, we have just one block which executes when the if condition is true. In if-else, we have two blocks, if block and else block. So if block executes when the condition is true, else block executes when the condition is false. The else block doesn't have any condition associated with it. Now let us see the syntax of if-else statement. We have the keyword if, then we have a condition in the parenthesis, then the curly brackets indicate the start and end of if block. After that, we have else statement. So this else block executes when the condition given with the if statement is false. So now let's take a look at the flow chart. First, we evaluate the condition. If the condition is true, we enter the if block and execute all the statements given in the if block. If the condition is false, we execute all the statements which are given in the else block. So now let us see an example of if-else statement. Here I have an integer variable a whose value is 7. A is 7. So now there is an if statement. So what is the condition associated with it? A mod 2 equal to 0. So when I divide 7 by 2, the remainder will be 1 because 7 is an odd number. So the condition is false. So I will not enter inside the if block. So inside if will not be printed on the screen. Next, if statement. Now because the if statement is false, I'll enter inside the else block. So inside the else block, I'll print inside else on the screen. So the output of this code will be inside else. Inside else. Clear? Next we will see if else if ladder. Here I have one if statement and it is followed by multiple else if statements. In if else if ladder, first we have an if statement and it is followed by multiple else if statements. At the end, we can also define an else block. In if else if ladder, we have an if statement and it is followed by multiple else if statements. So it is a chain of else if statements which is similar to a decision tree. We have a condition with each else if block. So whenever the condition associated with this if else if block is true, the program enters the particular block of code. In the end, we have an else block which executes only when all the conditions above are false. So let us look at the syntax of if else if ladder. So first we have if, then a condition is a
पहले ये बोल दे कि only one of these conditions can, only one of this block can run at a time. Even if there are multiple else if where the condition stands true, only the first one will execute.
So in if else if blocks, so in this case only one of the block executes. So whenever I hit the first condition that is true, I enter that particular block of code. After executing that particular block of code, I do not check the condition given in the subsequent blocks. So after completing that block of code, I just come out of the if else if ladder complete. So let's take a look at the syntax. So first we have an if keyword, then a condition is associated with it, then there is an if block. After that, if the condition is false, I'll check the next part. Here I have else and again a condition is given with the if. So if this condition is true, I have this else if block and I can have multiple such blocks, and in the end I have an else block which executes only if all the above conditions are false. So let's see the flow chart. Here also you can see first I evaluate first condition. If it is true, I come inside the if block, otherwise I keep on checking next condition. I'll keep on checking the conditions until I find the first true condition. Whenever a condition is true, that particular block is executed, and after executing that block, no further condition is checked and I come out of the if else if ladder. So now let us see an example of if else if ladder. So here I have an integer variable a whose value is 30. Right? So now first I'll check the condition with the if block. The condition is a equal to 10. Now 30 is not equal to 10, so the condition is false. So I'll not enter the if block. I'll check the next condition. So the next condition is a equal to 20. Now 30 equal to 20, again the condition is false. I'll not enter the block and I'll check the next condition. So the next condition is a equal to 30. So now 30 equal to 30, the condition is true. I'll enter inside this else if block and I'll print the statement that is inside second if else. Inside second if else will be printed on the screen. So now because one of these statements is executed, I will not check the further conditions. So now this will be printed on screen and I will come out of the if else if ladder. Next type of if statements is nested if. So nested if statements means I can have a type of if statement inside any other type of if statement. I can have a simple if statement inside another simple if statement. Or I can have an if else if ladder inside another if else if ladder. Or I can have a simple if statement inside if else statement. So all the possible combinations can happen in nested if statements. So the next type of conditional statement is switch statement. A switch statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. Each of these values is called as case. So now let's take a look at the syntax of switch statement. So we have a switch, then in the parenthesis we have an expression which we want to evaluate for multiple values. Inside the parenthesis we have an expression whose value we want to test for equality with multiple values. So each value here is called as case. So we write case, then the value. Then we have a colon after each value. So if the value is matched, we execute all the statements written below that case. So let us understand the flow of this code using flowchart of the switch statement. Here we have multiple case values. So whenever the case value is matched, we execute the corresponding code block. In the switch statement, we have a default keyword. So default specifies some code which executes when no case matches. You can only have a single default keyword in a switch. And this default is also optional. It is recommended to use as it takes care of all the unexpected cases. So when the variable which is being switched is equal to some particular case, all the statements following that case will get executed until we hit a break state. So whenever we reach a break statement, the switch terminates and the flow of control it jumps to the next line which is following the switch statement. So not every case need to contain a break. The break statement is optional, but if no break appears, the flow of control will fall through all the subsequent cases until a break is reached. So there are some rules which need to be followed when we are using a switch case. So the first one is the variable which is used in a switch statement. It can either be a string, integer, or the data types which are converted to integers like byte, short, or char. The next rule is the cases cannot be duplicated. We can have a case value only once. Otherwise, it will give an error that the case label is duplicate. And the next rule is the value of the case must be of the same data type as the variable which is given in the switch statement. The last one is the data type of the case and the data type of the variable given in the switch statement must be same. So now let us see an example involving switch statement. Here I have an integer variable number is equals to 1. So now this number is being switched. So first I will compare it with case 0. So the value of number is not 0, so case 0 will not execute. Then there is case 1. So the value of number is 1. It matches with case 1. So the statements below case 1 will be executed. The first statement is print number is 1. So number is 1 will be printed on the screen. Then I hit a break statement. So break terminates the switch. So I come out of the switch statement. So now let us practice some multiple choice questions based on the conditional statements. So in the first question, I have an integer variable a whose value is 5. A is 5. So now in the if statement, I have a condition that is plus a into 5 is less than equal to 25. Now plus a means I should increment a first and then evaluate the condition. So the value of a will become 6. So now 6 into 5 will be 30. 30 less than 25, the condition is false. So I will not enter the if block, I will go to the else block. So in else block, I will print by on the screen. So the output of this code is by. So now let us see the next question. Here I have an integer variable x whose value is 5. So now the condition given with the if statement is x plus plus equal to 5. Now x plus plus means first I will check this condition with x only, and after checking the condition I will increment the value of x because this is postfix operator. So first I will check it with 5 equal to 5, and after this expression I will change x value to 6. So now 5 equal to 5, this condition is true. I will enter the if block and 5 will be printed on screen. So 5 will be the output. Now just notice in this particular question, after this if condition is true, x will become 6. Now if I evaluate the condition given in else if statement, the condition is plus plus x equal to 7. So now x is 6, plus plus means prefix. So first I will change this to 7 and then I will compare. Now 7 equal to 7. So this condition is also true, but 7 won't be printed on screen. Why this is so? Because in if else if ladder, if one condition is true, I do not check any subsequent condition. After checking one particular condition, if it is true, I will execute that block and come out of the whole ladder. So in this case, answer will be 5, not 5, 7. And at the end of the code, the value of x will be 6. It won't be 7 because this condition has never been checked. So this plus plus x didn't get executed at all. So x is 6 at the end of this code. And the output is 5. So the next question is, in Java, dash can only check for equality, whereas dash can evaluate any type of Boolean expression. So in switch case, we can only test a variable for equality with a particular case, whereas in if statement, we can execute any type of condition. So the first dash is switch, that is switch can only check for equality, whereas if can evaluate any type of Boolean expression. So the correct answer is A. So let's see the next question. Here I have two integer variables A and B. So the value of A is 20 and the value of B is 10. In if statement, I have two conditions which are logically connected with AND. So the first condition is A less than B. So A less than B, 20 less than 10. So this condition is false. So now for AND, we studied in short circuiting. If the first condition is false, the answer will be false. So AND doesn't evaluate the next condition. So this condition won't be executed and will directly return false. So if won't get executed. So victory point is not printed on screen. After the if block, I have to print value of B. So the value of B has not changed. The value of B is 10. So the output of this code will be 10. So let us see the next question. Here in if statement, I have a condition 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal to 5. So if I add all the ones on the left hand side, I will get 5. 5 equal to 5, it will be true. So I will enter the if block and true will be printed on screen. So the output is true. So now since the if statement is true, I will not enter the else block. So the output of this code will be true. So let us see the next question. Here I have an integer variable x whose value is 7. Next I have an if condition, that is if x equal to 2. So now the condition is x equal to 2. So this condition is false, right? But there is a semicolon at the end of this. So this semicolon indicates that this if condition has terminated. There is no if block. So this semicolon makes this condition similar to if x equal to 2 and empty if block. So both of these are similar. So if I place a semicolon after the if condition, it means that there is no if block. So it is similar to an empty if block. So there is no if block, I will come out of the if block and all the statements below if will be executed. So the statement below if is number 7 will be printed. So number 7 will be printed on screen. Then there is the next statement dot 7, it will also be printed on screen. So the output will be number 7, not 7. So A is the correct option. So let us see the next question. Here I have two integer variables x and y. So the value of x is 10 and the value of y is 0. So now I have an if condition x and y. So x is 10 and y, that is 0. So now this is an integer, this is and, this is again an integer. So and is a logical operator. It takes two Boolean expressions, but 10 is an integer. So this integer when connected with logical operator, it will give me compilation error and it will not execute. So the error will be bad operands for the binary operator and. So and should have Boolean operator on both of its sides. So it will give compilation error. So in this question I have two integer variables x and y. So the value of x is 3 and the value of y is 2. Next there is a switch on x plus 3. X is 3, so x plus 3 will be 6. So now it will match with case 6. So now if I enter the if block, first one is case 6. So this will match. So the first statement will get executed. So this will make y equal to 0. So now there is no break statement. I will keep on executing the statements until I find the break statement. So the next statement is y equal to 1. So y will become 1. Next statement is y plus is equals to 1. So y plus is equals to 1 means y is already 1. So if I add y plus is equals to 1 means y is equals to y plus 1. So y is already 1. So if I add 1 to it, y will become 2. Now the switch block is terminated because there is no further statement in the switch block. So the value of y after this whole switch is executed is 2. So the output is 2 in this case. So in this question I have a character variable ch whose value is a. Now there is switch ch. So I'll switch this and whenever I'll find case small a, the statements will be executed. So now the first case is case small a. So this is matched, but there is no statement inside the case a. So no statement will be printed. But there is no break statement also. So I'll execute all the further statements. So in the next statement, case capital A, there is system.out.print ch. So this ch will be printed, a will be printed on screen. Next I have break statement. So it will come out of the switch statement and a will be the answer. So the output of this code will be small a.
Let us see the next question. Here I have two integer variables I and j. The value of j is 1. For the value of I, there is a ternary operator. So I have I is equals to j greater than 1 question mark 2 colon 1. So first we will evaluate this condition j greater than 1. The value of j is 1. So I will evaluate 1 greater than 1. This condition is false. So in ternary operator, when the condition is false, expression 2 is executed. So this ternary operator returns 1. 1 is given to the value of I, so I value becomes 1. Now there is switch on I. So it will match the case when value is 1. First we have case 0. The value is not matched. So we'll move on to checking the next case. Next we have case 1. Case 1 and the value of I is 1, so the value matches. So we'll execute all the statements after case 1. First statement is I'll print 1 on the screen. So 1 will be the output. Next there is no break statement. So the statements below case 2 will also get executed. Now we'll print 2 on screen. After printing 2 there is a break. So the switch terminates and at the end we have 1 to 12 as output of this code. We are done with the lecture. In the subsequent lectures, we'll see some coding questions. Thank you everyone.